Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to Impacting Life 24/7. This is our Veterans Day edition of honoring our veterans, and we have asked people who want to share their time in service to join us tonight. And we have folks that have joined us from various walks of life, and we're thankful that everybody is doing that. I'm just going to, what I want you guys to know is that we opened this up to everyone. And so we, on Impacting Life 24/7, one of the things that we try to do is we try to use this platform to impact lives. That's really what we have it for. Really no other special reason. And so our veterans who have joined us tonight, we gave an opportunity for everyone. So don't say you didn't get an opportunity, you didn't hear about it. But those that come, we will honor. And so on this platform, that's what we're going to do. And so tonight I've got a few questions for everybody, and we're just going to kind of get some feedback from our veterans. I just wanted to hear some feedback from them directly, from veterans directly, and utilize our platform to honor them. So thank you all, first of all, for your service. Thankful to all of our veterans out there that are watching, that will tune in later. Thank you so much for your service to this great nation. And so because we got a jam-packed hour, we got to get right to it. And the first question that I have for our veterans, and we'll just go around the horn. We'll go with Maggie, and then we'll have Vera, and then Greg, Danny, and Mike. And of course, I don't have to answer because I'm asking the question. So, if there's time, I'll throw in an answer. So, the first question is, which branch of the military did you serve in, Maggie?
So, Chris, thanks for inviting me. It's a pleasure. I served active duty Air Force and California and Virginia Air National Guard.
All right. Awesome. You know, and just a little known history fact, I tried to go back in the Air Force and they said no. Back in 2001, they said, nope, sorry, no former Marines allowed. So I tried. I really did. Vera, thank you so much for taking time. I know we got connected late, but I'm so glad that you made it in your schedule to come on. So what branch of service were you in?
Thank you. I apologize. The alarm is going off in the background, but we're safe here.
That's okay.
Well, so I was in the United States Air Force active duty.
Okay.
And the following after that in active reserves.
All right.
Air Force.
Well, awesome. That is truly awesome. And thank you for your service. Greg, which branch of service were you in?
United States Marines.
I didn't know if there was any other branches, but we'll.
Yeah, I'm honored, and thanks to all the veterans, my brothers and sisters that heard the call.
Amen. That's right. Danny, what branch of service were you in, sir?
Hey, yeah, I was in the Army National Guard here in North Carolina.
And, you know, Danny posted something today in some sort of machine or apparatus. I don't know what that was, but I'm just like, you know what? If it's anything dealing with Danny, it's probably complex. What was that, Danny?
that was a rat rig. So that was the tool that I used in the military. So
wow,
it was a communications tool.
Well, I just used boxes, brother. Mike, what branch of service were you in? You're on mute, Mike. He's got to find his unmute button. Go ahead.
So I was in the Marine Corps. I served in 96 to 2000, and I was in Okinawa, Japan for 2 years. And then my last duty station was Camp Lejeune. So just loved it. Loved being overseas. Would have extended another year, but they said, go back to the States.
So kind of a two-part question here, Maggie. How long did you I think you, just let's refresh. How long did you serve, and why did you choose the Air Force?
So I chose the Air Force as my dad was in the Army Air Corps as a pilot, and then he flew for Eastern Airlines. My two brothers were both in the Air Force, and I wanted to be an aircraft mechanic. So that's what I went in and did. And combined total 21 years, a little over 8 years active duty, the rest Air National Guard. And Also, when I went in originally back in December of '79, I didn't have to wait too long because, it was I went into an aircraft maintenance job. So not many women did that at that time. So.
Right, and I probably will have some follow-up questions for you on that. But as a aircraft mechanic, there was not a whole host of women in that field, huh?
No, there was when I got to my first duty station in Offutt Air Force Base, SAC headquarters in Omaha, Nebraska. There were like a total of 3 of us on the flight line.
Wow.
As crew chiefs.
Whew, yeah, and Maggie was Air Force, but Maggie's still tough though. Maggie don't play no games. He's tough. Vera, thank you again. And this is a 2-part question. How long did you serve, and why did you choose the branch that you served in the Air Force?
Honestly, I come from a Marine Corps town in Havelock, North Carolina. So everyone was like, "Oh, don't go to Marines." Sorry, Marines. No, the reason I went, I had to throw that in there because I knew I had my fellow Marines up here, so I had to pick a little bit friendly gesture. But yeah, so there was a recruiter, and his name was Michael White. I'll never forget him. And he was very diligent about helping me. And I started out at the community college, and then just trying to make a better life. And he helped me and assisted me so much that's how I ended up going into the Air Force. It was actually my recruiter.
So your recruiters kind of just pushed you and nudged you along, huh?
And nudged me along. Yeah, the recruiter helped me out a lot. So I ended up in the Air Force.
And how many years again?
4 years active.
4 years active. Awesome. And Greg, again, 2-part question. Why did you, how long did you serve, and why did you choose the Marine Corps?
I served 20 years, and guess I chose Marine Corps because really I was not ready for college or school or to hang in my old little town. And I knew that out of the services, me being small stature, I had something to prove. So it was definitely the Marines.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because Greg was the house mouse in boot camp, weren't you, Greg?
House mouse.
House mouse.
That's the guy that gets to go in the duty hut with the drill instructors and handle the paperwork and stuff. That's awesome, Greg. Danny, how long did you serve, and why did you choose the route that you went?
Okay, so I did 7 years in the National Guard, and I did about 3 years in active duty reserve once I got out of there. And I think the reason I joined the National Guard, there was probably maybe 3 reasons: expediency, proximity to Fort Bragg. The reason I was did the Army, and I wanted to go to college. So that was, to me, that was the compromise. I could do all those things and continue to go to and still go to college, because my grandmother was adamant that the one thing I wasn't going to do is hang out. So I said, okay, in her mind, because my uncle went to Marines, my other uncle went to the Army, one uncle went away, and so all the men basically were military,
right?
So in her mind, that's what you do when you come out of high school,
right? You
go into the military. And I wanted to go to college, so I compromised with her, and she was, happy because, I went into the military part-time, but I went to the military,
right? And
I also went to college. So,
well, and the thing about that is the wisdom of your grandmother still is residual today, Danny, because one thing that's just in the King household. One thing you ain't gonna do is just hang out.
You're not gonna hang out. No.
This is not the landing zone right here. I mean, I know some may think the parents is the gravy train, but that was wise on Grandma's part for sure.
That's right, man.
So, Mr. Black, how long did you serve, and why did you choose the United States Marine Corps?
So, Chris, the reason why I served is basically when I come fresh out of high school, my parents kept asking, "What are you going to do with your life?" I had no clue. I was a big slacker, to be honest. And my buddy said, well, let's join the Marine Corps. And I'm like, let's do it. So we joined on the buddy program. And of course, you know, everybody's been in the Marine Corps. You get there and it's like, oh my goodness, what did I get myself into? You know, standing on those yellow footprints. So, and being a Florida boy, I nearly froze to death in South Carolina. It was pretty cold over there.
Wow.
Went during the winter time. And so that's kind of why I joined up. I mean, I really didn't have no clue what I wanted to do. I was fresh out of high school, like I said, and I served from 96 to 2000 and, you know, just did 4 years and went ahead and got out. And so that was my experience.
Maggie, you know, you said you went in 79, and I was 4 during that time, but
try again. Close, but not that young.
Okay. Did you say 79 or 77?
79. I graduated in 78.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I was born in 75. So there's that. And you know, but the thing about that is that every time period that we see in the military does have a certain flavor, and you know, I go back. I love studying military history. And when you go back, you do see the flavors of the day during that time. So you said that you were tell us about your military occupation again.
So I went in and I was trying to be a engine mechanic, you know, jet engine mechanic, but in tech school I went to, instead of field maintenance, I was organizational maintenance assigned out of tech school. So I went to the flight line and became a crew chief. So I've worked on, the first aircraft was the KC-135A model. We call it a water burner. And like I said, there's only one other female on the flight line. Well, 2 other females on the flight line at the time. But stayed at Omaha. That was SAC headquarters at the time. So, you know, we had the alerts, and Airborne Command Post was right there. So did a lot of training missions, but then I ended up being on what they call the RC-135. The KC-135W model, which is the first aircraft that had a bunch of computers on it. So flew long missions. They weren't short missions. So I enjoyed that. And I was locked into Omaha for 5 years. So I got out after 4 years and worked in a couple of restaurants and decided to go back in, and went to California and then Guam. So as a crew chief, and then I was playing softball for PACAF, and they said too many NCOs in the Air Force. So while I was TDY playing softball, they said, nope, you're getting out. So then I found the Air National Guard.
So now as a crew chief, did you you got to fly a lot?
Yeah, I was on flying status. We flew, we pulled alert. I've been to seven different countries.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So,
well, that'll be a follow-up question, because I want to know about those. But man, that is so cool. I take it you have no fear of flying, because you've been doing it your whole life, huh?
No, I don't. My dad wanted me to be a pilot. He said he'd send me to go pilot, but I have, and this is jokingly, I have one of those called a squat switch. You know, the switches you activate in my rear end. So when I sit down in the plane, I'm so comfortable, I fall asleep.
I can understand. So. I understand. Well, I still have that same thing too. It usually happens right after I eat. So Vera, what was your occupation in the service?
I was a computer operator, and at a brand new unit that first stood up called J-Stars. And so I had the unique opportunity to actually stand up a squadron and wing. And so much like the young lady that spoke right before me, for the aircraft mechanic, I was the first person, first woman and first African-American to integrate the squadron.
Wow.
And I was able to win my very first year in, competing against other airmen who had been in 8 years or longer, and shorter time periods, maybe 4 to 8 years. And I was able to win Airman of the Quarter 3 quarters in a row. That's like Employee of the Year for everyone, but Employee of the Quarter 3 out of 4 quarters. And I won Airman of the Year. So yes, but I had a great time at the squadron that I was at, because there were no processes and we had to set up everything. So most of the time when you go in the branch of the military, everything's already established and you just go to your unit and you follow the rules. But we were groundbreaking, so a part of history.
Wow.
Decided to do that.
That is so awesome. Remind me again the years that you served.
That was 95 to 99 active.
Wow, 95 to 99. Awesome, awesome. Greg, what was your military occupation, brother?
Oh, my military occupation was communications. Took me some great places: Pentagon, Washington, D.C., Japan. Served some great duty stations, but communications, fixed communications.
And what does that mean? What do you talk to people? What is that?
No, Chris. You would think you talk to people, but unfortunately, messages have to come and go throughout the Marine Corps.
Okay.
Red Cross messages, top secret messages, classified messages. So it's a communication center, sort of like 911 center.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's just communications for the whole Marine Corps.
And so you set up the technical pieces of that, or you were actually one engaging in communication?
Two parts. If you're FMF, you might set up some stuff, but if you're base, then everything's set up for you. It's just a building that's set up with a bunch of huge computers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're pretty technically savvy, Greg. So I don't understand why you can't operate a GPS, bro. I'm just
Hey, yeah. He had 3 GPSs. And Maggie, back to the sleep thing. We're not gonna say who fell asleep. Talking to him at the Panthers game.
At the Panthers game, while it was going on, I fell asleep.
And everybody's don't fly.
Yeah, well, again, I'm going to dedicate a whole show to that trip. Danny, what was your occupation, brother?
I went when I went through training. I actually trained at Signal Corps down in Fort Gordon, Georgia. And when I came back to my unit, which is the 30th Infantry Brigade, which is majority of the unit here in North Carolina,
mm-hmm.
I was a part of the mechanized infantry there. And I was attached to a weather squadron, actually Air Force weather squadron at Pope, and I did weather reporting. So that rat rig you saw there, that's how I received weather information.
Really?
Information was oh yeah. So that was it. We set up our little area, and it was top secret. No one could come in there, and we just sort of communicated, like Greg said, communicated.
That's powerful, man. And tell me the years you were in again.
I was in the late. Here's the thing. I went into delayed entry, right? So I went in there when I was actually in high school.
Okay.
And never, but I didn't report. I would actually go to the drills, but I didn't, this was prior to going to basic training. So that was like 85, right?
Yeah.
So I went in and I came out in 92. So that's it.
Wow, man. Well, are those apparatuses still in service?
No, I'm sure they're not. I'm sure it's been replaced now. That was, even then, most of that equipment was
phasing out,
old, and we didn't really start getting restocked until the war, Desert Storm.
Right. And
that's when you start getting the new equipment. And because, at that point we were preparing to go overseas, and I'm going to say fortunately, I don't know if I'm saying fortunately or not, but the war ended, but my unit was called, and we were getting ready to go before reserves go. We actually go with like Texas or California and train for about 3 months prior to going into the actual theater.
Wow.
So we were prepping, our units were prepping to go. And, that first war ended pretty fast. So we didn't go.
Okay. Well, I know you would be willing to go, and you were there to go.
Well,
yeah.
Yes, of course. Yeah. It was part of the game.
That was part of the contract there.
Part of the contract.
that little fine print there.
It's like, I know why you joined, but now it's time.
Yeah. Hey, wait a minute. No, man, I'm a weather reporter.
Man, hey, it was startling, but it was like one of those things. I said, well, I had my mind right. I had my mind fixed.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things.
Awesome, man. Mike, what was your occupation?
And one technology. Thank you guys for not laughing. There must be a ghost in this room. I'll have to get some ghost spray off Amazon because my light fell. So thank you for not laughing too hard. I was a warehouse guy by trade. The code was 3051. So I believe that Chris is aviation supplies. So there was always kind of like a which supply is better than which one, rah-rah type deal. But I went into supply, and then I went to supply school in Georgia, Albany, Georgia. So that was really fun. I was close to home. They used to call the term swoop. So you could swoop home to Florida like crazy, you know, drive for the weekend to see the family. But yeah, so that was a cool job. I mean, we did a lot of warehousing and issued out 782 gear. An interesting fact with 782 gear came from that. That's how much it costs. Nowadays, it probably costs about $7,000 to outfit a soldier or troop. So, but that was a lot of what we did in the warehouse. And like I said, I was in Okinawa, Japan for 2 years. Enjoyed that. I was at an air unit, air unit there, and then I was at an artillery battery in Lejeune. So I was around a bunch of grunts. So it was like from one extreme to the other, and it was just a really cool experience.
Well, you know, that's interesting. So you're saying that the original number was $782 to outfit. That's where 782 gear came from?
Yeah, that's where the term came from. So when you get the outfitted with your, like, you know, belt and your cami thing, all the gear you would get up to go in the theater. So that was like the old time used to say that. But I know it's way more expensive now.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a whole, it's all different now, you know, obviously technology and gear that soldiers wear.
Maggie and Vera, I'm going to ask you this question because this is something, you know, number one, we're brothers and sisters in arms in the realm of veterans. And like I was saying today in my international speech at the sacred grounds there here in Camp Lejeune, the war memorial, that we're all linked by this term of service. But I want to know from you, Maggie, what was it like? And you could be candid. This show is unfiltered and unfettered. But what was it like being a female, especially in your occupation during that time in the service in the Air Force?
Well, when I got to Omaha and I started on the first aircraft, and then I went to that special model aircraft I talked about, there's another female there already. And we were getting ready to go TDY, and we ended up going to England. But some of the crew that was on that aircraft, you had military, but he also had civilian people who ran computers, you know, so you had like civilian contractors, I'm assuming. Mm-hmm. And, you know, the old, I guess I'm a female. So, you know, the boys and the guys think, oh, so when we go over, we're going to party. No. Mm. Sorry, I don't know. So yeah, she had a reputation from working her way from one end of the aircraft to the other end of the aircraft when they went TDY. I said, oh, you got the wrong person. Uh-oh. That's not me. So it was just the stigma of, you know, what people think women are supposed to do right at that time. And I know, you know, it was Vera, who's on here also is a little bit later, but I know, you know, standing up a unit, I'm sure, and also the barrier she broke was outstanding. But it's just that getting over that hump is I can do everything you can do as a guy on the flight line. I can work the aircraft just like anybody else. I might not be as strong, but I've never failed an evaluation. I've got allocates throughout my career, you know, so did you, as you seen, and Vera, I'll ask this to you also, but as Maggie, as your time went on, did you see maybe an evolution, with acceptance of ladies and females in the military service? Yeah, it took a while though. And I hate to say it did. It took a while. Mm-hmm. A lot of things have changed, since Desert Storm, Desert Shield, mm-hmm. Where you're in, people are end up being deployed with other services and co-located and having to work together as a unit, no matter what service you're in. Mm-hmm. So prior to that, I think it was still depend on, I guess, where you were at. I mean, once I was stationed in Guam, my last active duty area. So it wasn't too bad. I mean, I was running a maintenance operations center as the female, and I had a bunch of other people working for me. So it took a while, but you still had those good old boys.
Yeah, I understand. Vera, same question for you. What was it like as being a female, you mentioned, some things you were the first African American female to stand up a particular unit. So what was it like, and did you see any resistance, or was it more open during that time?
I would say I still saw some resistance, but it was more open. So, thank God for, people paving the way prior to me. Thank you for her service and serving on the flight line. And was IT at that time, and still is, a primarily male dominated career field. Mm-hmm. And so most of my career, in fact, I think there was one woman that came and served, and she was a tech sergeant, but most of it I was there alone and the only female. But I learned to let my work speak for me. And so I was met with resistance at first, but like she said, once they saw that I could do the work and I actually was doing the work and the work spoke to me, I did work. I worked 2, 3 times, 4 times harder than everyone else to achieve those goals, and the goals that I had set, and the special projects that I were assigned to, I excelled, and I had to go above and beyond to get the same recognition. But in the end, that taught me a lot of work character. And once they saw that I was willing to do the work and I could do the work, then a lot of things changed. Probably the most resistance I had was when I went TDY one time, and I was at the table, and we were all, this was after hours, and we were all sitting at a table, and the people I were with, they were trying to teach me how to play dominoes.
Oh.
And and so one of the guys stood up and said, "I'm not gonna play at this table with a woman in dominoes. Ooh. She should be pregnant and in the kitchen."
Oh my.
And I was flabbergasted. I was flabbergasted because this was in the 90s.
Yeah.
So I was, astonished. But luckily, I had some great guys that were there that took up for me and came to the rescue. And so we were all like family. It was a family environment. And so they knew my character. They knew who I was. And much like she said, there were people, and some people, you didn't want to have a reputation for the wrong reason of getting to the top. Right. So, I just wanted to make sure that I let my work speak for me, and that spoke for me. And I think because of that, I was able to gain a lot of respect.
Well, that's powerful. Vera and Maggie, we really appreciate you guys. Women of integrity and honor. Thank you so much. Greg, you know how to play bones, brother?
Brother.
You don't know how to play no bones. Greg don't know how to play no bones.
I was stationed in Texas for 3 years. That's what the game feels like it was originated from, Texas.
Oh, is that right? So, Greg.
I don't think so.
Question. Yeah, Danny will fact check you on anything you say.
I'll fact check you on that.
I'm just saying. That's all they do in Texas.
It felt like it, right? It felt like it.
Yeah.
They do.
Greg, you come from a military family?
I do not, Chris.
So,
I'm the first.
Are you serious?
Yes, sir.
Wow. What about you, Danny?
My like I told you, my 2 uncles went to the military. My brother military, my sister military, and they actually went to Desert Storm, and it was there was some things, it was an experience. So yeah. But yeah,
so you have a family lineage, though, a family history of folks in the military. Yeah. That's been one of the chosen, occupations for many people in the family. Yeah. Okay. What about you, Mike? Military family?
Yes, we have a steep tradition in our family. I had 2 great uncles in the Marine Corps in the 50s. One was an Army officer. My granddad on my dad's side was a Navy Seabee. My dad was a combat engineer turned recruiter, and he did 30 plus years Army. And then my grandfather on my mom's side was Navy. My grandmother was actually Army Air Corps. She jumped out of planes.
Oh, wow.
So someone talks about grandmas, they'll be like, my grandma's way cool, and your grandma, she jumps out of planes. So just, there you go on that, buddy.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Olivia joined the Army, and I was a Marine. So a lot of history military tradition in my family. Yes,
That's good, man. I seen Olivia's picture today, kind of brought tears to my eyes. Olivia's so sweet, and I told her Uncle King loves her and her husband and her bald-headed daddy too. So there's that. Maggie, you I know you guys here's the deal for me, Maggie. I wanted to travel. Okay, even though now I'm an international sensation, back then when I was 18, I wanted to travel. And they sent me, watch this now, wait for it, Vera. They sent me to Cherry Point. I'm like, no. Y'all got my orders mixed up. I'm supposed to be going to like Japan or, Guam or some cool place. Maggie, what were some of the cool places you traveled and in the military, and what was your favorite duty station?
So I've traveled to Canada, Guam, Korea, Germany, Australia, France, Iceland, England, and Qatar. And my favorite, I was stationed in Guam. So I actually went TDY there. And then when I went back to California after TDY, actually it was TDY from Guam, and we hopped to Australia and came back. Our unit was shutting down when I was active duty. The Air Reserve Wing Air Refueling Wing was shutting down. Mm-hmm. So they're letting people choose where they wanted to go. And at the time I was a sergeant, E4 sergeant. And there were two other guys who came back in the service like I did, who had first choice. For some reason, both of them chose McConnell Air Force Base in Kansas. Ooh. And I'm like, sweet. So I got to go back to Guam active duty for 18 months. So, it was great. Learned how to scuba dive, was a dive master while I was there.
Yeah, man. So. I had heard about cadre duty at Guam, and everyone that I ever talked to about Guam, they said it was an amazing duty station.
It is. If you like water sports or water, yes, because it's not that big of an island. So if you get island fever, maybe it's not for you because it's not that big. You either got Anderson the one end, and you got Big Navy on the other end. That they have the bigger shopping, but other than that, yeah.
Some mysterious lady online in our chat said, because I only went to Cherry Point, she said, and then he found me. He wasn't going anywhere. I wonder who that might be. So we were stuck at Cherry Point, y'all. We wasn't going nowhere. Then, of course, we had started having children. I just couldn't depart from them. So that was why we kind of chose another route. So, Veer, what stations were you at, or places, countries, and what was your favorite?
Okay, Warner Robins, Georgia was my primary duty station. I went TDY to a lot because of the aircraft that I supported was a surveillance. And so I got to travel. I went to stateside. I went to California. Overseas, I went to Germany, Saudi Arabia, and a little bit of Ireland. So,
oh, wow. What was your favorite?
My favorite place was Germany. And because I actually love the countryside and the cobblestone roads, and it was just so beautiful. And this was before they tore the wall down, and everyone was really so open. Yeah. I mean, everyone was so inviting. I remember trying to test my German at a restaurant and asked for the one word I knew, which was pommes frites, which was French fries. Uh-huh. They was like, oh, you want some French fries? But everyone was just so open and welcoming. And that I don't think I was used to that. And so that was really, I had a great time in that area.
Hey, Vera.
Yes.
In Stille Nacht, zo'n zijn wach. What did I say? What did I say, Danny? It's Silent Night. I was in chamber choir, so we had to sing Silent Night in German. So there's that. I can wax poetic in German with the best of them, baby.
There you go.
Greg, where did you go, man? What was your favorite one?
Oh my goodness, man! I've been to so many. We started out in Japan, my very first duty station, then back to California, down to North Carolina, then back to California, then back to Japan, then to Aviano, Italy, then to Slovenia, then to Turkey. Some great, great duty stations. I would have to say my favorite was Italy, Aviano, Italy.
Italy?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Well, I'm supposed to take my wife to Italy. I was supposed to take her last year, and I was a little short on funds, so COVID struck, and I was able to kind of use that as the excuse why we can't.
Olive Garden.
What you say, Olive Garden counts? So listen, ladies and gentlemen that are in the chat, listen, you've tuned in to Impacting Life 24/7. This is our special Veterans Day edition. We've got some amazing veterans with us, and if you'd like to tell us in the chat where you served and what branch of service that you served in, we love to acknowledge you and honor you on this very, very special day. Where did you travel to, Mr. Mike Black, and what was your favorite duty station?
So obviously my favorite duty station was Japan. I mean, the first duty station, I was 19 years old in a foreign country. It was so awesome. I was stationed at the Tenma Air Base, which is between the two major bases. And, the cool thing was like to visit the Air Force Base. They had an Army base there. Coast Guard was there. So it was just so awesome. And I actually got to go to Tokyo, Japan. I flew over there from Okinawa and checked that out. And Tokyo was a lot like New York City. There was just so much to do, and just rode the subway, just the culture. I mean, I loved everything about it. Food, the culture. It was so awesome.
Wow, man. Well, I can just say, and that's one of the things, like I said, I missed about where I was stationed. I just went to like Piggly Wiggly and Krabby Patty. So that's all the culture that I that's all the culture that I got, Daddy. They didn't give me nothing else. And I mean, literally, when I landed in Havelock, I'm just like, wow. I seen tumbleweed rolling across the street, and I was like, wow. So anyway, there's that. And the interesting thing about it is that I believe that if I had have re-enlisted, I was going to get sent somewhere because they were trying to get people out of Cherry Point. So Maggie, what was your proudest military moment? Your proudest military moment?
Well, I'm going to come up with a couple. So my second active duty tour when I was in California, I actually was assigned. I got assigned to be assistant crew chief on the 15th Air Force General tanker. They're his plane. So 3-star we worked for. So at the time, I don't know if with Air Force at one time we had, before the BDUs and stuff, we had the green fatigue. So we were wearing blue ones, sort of like what you see some of the Blue Angel folks wear. We would wear those, but that was a proud moment. And then when I was Air National Guard, I made E7 Master Sergeant, and I retired as Master Sergeant.
Look at you! Yes, absolutely. That's awesome, man. And again, I know Maggie in a few other arenas, and she still makes me call her Master Sergeant. So there's that. I'm teasing. What proudest moment for you in your military service, Vera?
My proudest moment was when I got to meet the very first Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force.
Oh, wow.
Yes, his name was Chief Airy. He had retired at the time, and he came to Warner Robins, and he just really he had a book signing, but he just really took the time to pour into me. He just, kind of set me on the side for about 30 minutes and, spoke to me and poured into me. So that was an exciting moment. Because of the high profile of the J-Stars, I did get to meet and escort dignitaries and do tours within our organization. So I was the person that got to do that. So that was also a very proud moment for me.
Man, that is cool, man. That's getting to see some of that high brass and celebrity brass is a privilege. And man, especially what do you remember what rank you were during those times?
Yes, I was probably when I met Chief Airy, I was like an E1. So it was like my very first year in. So you can imagine meeting the Chief Master Sergeant, first Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. Like, I was just so excited. And then I started doing the dignitary tours for the senators, and that was probably like a year later. So I was like only an E2 or E3 at the time.
Well, I love the Air Force's rank insignias because they go way down. You know what I mean? They're like this tall. You know what I mean? They put some stripes on there, so I can imagine seeing that Chief Master Sergeant and you got one little chicken wing on your sleeve, and that just speaks to the culture though at that particular time, and his mindset was to give you his full attention, and a real good leader will make it so when he's talking to you, you feel like you're the only one in the room. So that's a really amazing story, Greg. What was the question? I don't even remember what the question was. Oh, proudest military moment.
All right, I'm gonna flip the screen a little bit. If you can see that little plaque back there that has a little Texas shape.
Yeah.
My recruiting duty tour. That plaque represents that I put in over 100 young people and changed their lives. Absolutely.
Ooh, man.
So that would have to be my proudest moment.
Yeah, man. That
changing over 100 young people's lives. Plus, I left out a lot of information, but
right.
as a Marine recruiter, I got to keep it real.
He didn't mention that they were some incarcerated and some.
That was very rewarding, man. That was very rewarding to represent the Marine Corps and put in over 100 young people.
Right. And I do remember my recruiter. I'm sure everybody does here. Remember your recruiter and looking at them, obviously the drill instructors too, but looking at that recruiter, it's like, you know what, man, if I want a piece of what he got going on or she has going on. And so, you have to be a stellar person. You have to be an upstanding person. You got to be squared away to be a recruiter because you're representing the agency. You're representing what that branch of service looks like. And Greg is a squared away stellar person. So thank you, Greg, for that. Danny, what about you? What was your Danny? What was your most memorable or your?
You know what? I think that if I had to think about it, I think my most memorable
and proudest
moment was probably one that later maybe have led to a little regret. And I'll tell you why that paradox is there. My company commander came to approach myself and one of my best friends and ask us if we wanted to go to Officer Candidate School to ask us to test for it, OCS. So we said, okay, we'll do it. And we took the test and blew it out of the water. The regret was I didn't pursue it once I took the test. I think I don't go back and sort of regret things like that.
Right.
Because it could have been different. You never know.
Right.
But I always wonder, what if I had just gone and said, okay, yeah, I was just going to go to OCS and see how it works. Later on, my partner did eventually go, and he's a major now. So, that's just one of those things, man. That's it. Yeah.
Well, let me speak about Danny Brunson because he's a super humble guy. I can just attest, knowing him and knowing his aptitude, that if he had have went OCS, Danny would have been by now at least a 4-star general.
Oh, you think?
Because I'm just telling you, Danny is one of the smartest people you'll ever meet on the planet. Like if you say, hey, Danny, here's a piece of lint. Can you tell me the stock number for this piece of lint? He'll find it.
That's funny.
So I appreciate that, Danny. And
I appreciate you, man, that you think that.
when you think about, the what ifs, I think about that too. I think about what if I had stayed in. I think about what if I was in great shape. What I don't know what I'm in now. I'm A shape, but I'm not in. I'm not in shape. Yeah. If I had stayed in, what would be different? But you know what? Everything works out for a reason.
Everything works out. Yeah, exactly.
That's right. Mike, what was your most proudest military moment?
So I have a few. The first one, obviously, when I was in boot camp, you get handed the Eagle Blow Up and Anchor. And at that time, they had a test case where they were doing the crucible. So it was like 2 days of like in the woods, deprivated sleep. it was pretty tough. And the end of that, everybody's bawling and crying. But, that moment, hey, I'm a Marine. This is legit. So that was a proud moment. My second proudest moment would be when I got corporal, picked up rank of corporal. And at that same time, obviously I was in Okinawa, I went to jungle warfare training. There's only one in the DOD. And I got to meet the Commandant of the Marine Corps.
Oh my.
General Krulak at that time.
CC Krulak.
He was really short. And I'm not being just whatever, but I mean, he had the bars, so I thought he was like 8 foot tall.
He was extremely short.
But I was like, man, I got to meet the Commandant of the Marine Corps at jungle warfare training. How did I even end up in jungle warfare training? I don't know. I probably volunteered like an idiot. Like, hey, that sounds like something fun. And I was like, oh man, this is crazy. Yeah. So that was some of my proudest moments and just things I remember.
CC Krulak was awesome, man. I remember seeing him in a poster that he was standing up to a Marine in boot camp, standing in line and seeing those 4 stars and that, you got to juxtapose those two, this person brand new and then Krulak, the leader of the institution. Just absolutely amazing. Okay, so a question came in from my wife, Maggie, and I'm going to get this I need an answer from everybody around the room. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Impacting Life 24/7, our special Veterans Day edition. And so we opened it up to every veteran in the country. We would have been able to only ask you like a half a question if all y'all showed up. But we opened this up because we wanted to honor our veterans in their service. So the question from my wife, Maggie, is, and everybody has to answer this, okay? She says, what is the best advice everyone can give our son who is starting his career in the Army currently at boot camp? Maggie?
Be true to himself.
Be true to himself. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I know why he went in, and I think it's great. And I know he's going to do outstanding things, but don't fall into a trap, of anything. And I'm not saying he would, but I'm just saying anybody is just, but yeah, he's going to do well, and just stay true to his what he wants to do, and he'll go far for sure.
Yeah, that's a great advice, man. Because sometimes, parents sometimes can worry that, oh my goodness, my child has gone away. And, the military is a fraternity with a lot of diversity and a lot of opportunities, right? And being true to yourself, being true to your core of who you are, proximity should not change you. So that's very wise, Maggie. Vera?
I would say that I love what Maggie said, be true to yourself. And I'm just going to go just a little iteration of that and just say, serve with your whole heart. Because when you serve with your whole heart, it will take you places that wisdom cannot take you. It will help you to make and keep your integrity. It will help you to exceed goals and have persistence and be able to achieve without not giving up when you have that purpose and you have that reason why of what you're doing. So I would say when you do everything, serve with your whole heart.
Awesome. Thank you. Greg?
Well, this was what worked for me, truthfully. I may have been an E2, but I thought like an E4. So if I was an E4, I thought like an E6. And you always think 2 grades ahead of where you're currently at.
Yeah, that's very good wisdom, and probably spin that way in the reverse. So when you are E4, spin like an E2. Hello? Yeah, because I done already seen. I done already seen his first paycheck, and I'm just like, I need to go ahead and skim off the top what he owes me from all these years, since I still got access to his account. But of course, I'm just teasing. What advice would you give Chris there in boot camp, Danny?
I think the biggest thing is that many people leave school and say, hey, I'm out of school now, I'm going to go start my career. Mm-hmm. But I think that committing yourself to being a lifetime student is probably one of the best mindsets you can have. The reason I say that because when I worked in DC, there were so many post-military people there who had these advanced degrees, and it served them well. the reason the reason they were able to take advantage of those post-military opportunities is because while they were in the military, they were preparing the entire time. Mm-hmm. So they were getting community college, they were getting bachelor's degrees, they were getting master's degrees, and some even getting PhDs. Mm-hmm. And the military was helping them to achieve those goals. Wow. So I think that the biggest thing that I would say is commit to being a lifetime student.
Well, that's powerful.
Even though you're out of school per se, commit to that mindset.
That's powerful. I like it, Danny. And I waited till probably 10 years after I was out and realized, mm-hmm. man, I'm a whole lot older and a whole lot slower on the academic piece.
Yeah,
and
do it young.
But right, do it while you're young. Your mind's That's fresh. Right. And don't just say, well, I've reached the apex. I graduated and I went on. Mm-hmm. But man, that's good. Be a lifetime student, of which we know Mr. Danny Brunson is a lifetime student. I'm pushing him to get his PhD. And so and then when he gets his PhD, he's gonna graft me in like an honorary, and I'll be an honorary doctorate under Danny Brunson.
There you go.
Mike, what's your advice for Chris in boot camp?
So, I thought about this question quite a bit. Did read the question you sent out before, Chris, and I would just say that a lot of the young people with the history of the military, it's incumbent upon us older folks to kind of convey that to them, that number one, it's a voluntary force, right? So you weren't drafted. And so you choose to serve. And that in itself is amazing. Only, I think, 1% of the population of America is veteran or serving. So, just be humble and recognize what a great honor it is to serve the military and don the military uniform. So just the history of it, and there's so many opportunities out there. You just have to take advantage of it and, go to work. And it's the best fraternity. I mean, all of us are sharing stories from years ago. So none of us ever regret this decision of joining. So, I mean, just, hey, when the tough gets tough, say, hey, you know what? Blessed, I'm able to serve, and just kind of, sometimes you have to check yourself like, hey, but it's just more of just the history of it. You're part of something bigger than yourself.
Right.
And it's such a positive thing.
Within reason, I'm closing. It's sad, ladies and gentlemen, that this time went by so fast. Didn't this go by fast, Greg? It just seems like we just got started. But I'm going to ask around the room, if you don't mind, this was not on your questions, which I know Greg and Mike didn't read them anyway. But I say to them in the pre-show, hey, you guys look at them questions? They're like, what questions?
Well, my light gave out, so I couldn't see the questions. So there you go.
I'm old.
What Greg's old, so we'll give him that. Maggie, I'm just going to go around the room. Did your military service open up additional doors for you after your time was done? And if so, would you mind sharing maybe a door that opened up for you because of your service time?
Yeah. So, yes, it did, because being aircraft maintenance, when I was in California before I came out to Virginia, I was in quality assurance. I was inspecting aircraft and actually putting a stamp on a plane to fly. And I was entrusted with that by my squadron, and then also a colonel who did all the pre-flight checks. So he said, I want her stamp. I want her. So, and I was lower ranking than some of the other folks. I was only tech sergeant at the time. But that helped me get the job with Defense Logistics Agency that I came in after 9/11. I moved out here after 9/11 and was quality assurance. And that got me into logistics. So I was always the one demanding the part, and now I'm the one chasing the parts people are demanding. So that definitely is, I'm definitely learning something about supply every day for those who actually work supply in their military job. And it's definitely a learning experience, and I'm learning all the time.
Yeah, well, I just want you to know from the bottom of my heart, you are a fantastic logistician, and you do our country proud. And I thank you and salute you, Maggie, for all the service that you have given to this country. I know I know you worked on aircraft, and I know your wheels. I think landing gear might be coming down soon, eventually.
Soon,
but
coming up January will be total of 37 years.
January will be 37 years of service to this great nation. And so I just want you to know that we really appreciate you, Maggie. Vera, same thing. Have the doors opened up for you because of your military service? And if you could give us an example of one, that'd be awesome.
Definitely. Most definitely. When I left, I had a top secret security clearance, a top secret SCI. And so that has definitely propelled my career. I've been because of that, and then also achieving my education, I've been able to work as a Department of Defense consultant and engineer, and also with the in the government as well, across all 4 branches: Navy, Marine Corps, Army, and my time in service with the Air Force. So it has definitely afforded me the opportunity to work with top 100 department, Fortune 100 companies and Department of Defense companies that are well-known billion-dollar companies. And it definitely opened the door for that, as well as being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, well, that's so awesome. And listen, if you're hiring and you need a speaker, just there's always remember CL, you know what I mean? Simple 2 letters, CL.
Yes, I got it.
Doors that opened up for you, Greg.
Yeah, absolutely. The New Bern Police Department doors opened up for me. And with the discipline and the structure that I gave them.
Right.
You can see.
Right. Yeah.
I actually had an opportunity to write a book simply because of the goal settings that the Marine Corps taught me and the discipline and stay structured.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
And that book actually sits in my studio right over there. And it's 100 ways how to run and manage a property and evidence room. And yeah, a discipline is something that I think we all garner from, and discipline and structure we garner from our time in service. Danny, did it open up any doors for you? And which one you think?
That's a good question. I think that in general, what it did is just allowed me to, operationalize being a technologist, in various environments. That's one thing. Mm-hmm. Second thing is it taught me about teamwork, working on a team as a part of an organization, and finding a place to be on that team that added the most value. And what that allowed me to do is to move from team to team, say in civilian world, mm-hmm. and have that same mentality, just as I did when I played athletics.
Right.
I would find my spot on the team and did what it took to add the most value. And I think that was definitely reinforced in the military.
That's powerful. You add value mm-hmm. everywhere you go, Danny. So I just want you to know that.
Well, thank you.
Danny don't do compliments well, y'all. That's why I'm giving them to him. You know what I mean? Mike?
Yeah, I would say that for me, obviously I couldn't afford, come from a working class family, I couldn't afford to go to college. And so getting that GI Bill and the opportunity to go to school, I kind of, didn't really be as aggressive as I needed to be. But after 2 years after getting out, I utilized that. I used all my money, got my associate's, bachelor's degree, and I am going to be pursuing my master's. And so just to have that opportunity, it opened that door, and obviously it opened the door for me to get on with the government. Being a veteran, you can get hired on the base. So that was definitely an opportunity there that I would not have had if I would have served. I think that applies to any young person that, it opens up doors that typically you wouldn't have open, and it's much harder to kind of maneuver.
Well, you're right, Mike, and I use my GI Bill, and that's why I'm just absolutely so highly educated when you listen to this chocolatey velvet voice every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. I'm just teasing, y'all. Listen, man, I don't take myself so seriously, but I do take this one thing seriously, and that is honoring people who decided, hey, listen, that we went to the grave of many military service members today, in addition to honoring those that have served. And there's two worlds there: those that have served and are still alive and still doing well, and then those that paid the ultimate sacrifice. And so those that live, we that remain, the unique thing about us that relates us to those that perished is that we were willing to. And so I thank every one of you, and I thank you for your service. I thank everybody that tuned in.
And I would again.
Yes.
If they take me, I'd go again.
Yes, and that's the thing. I was going to ask that as a question, but you guys kind of answered it for me. Hey, listen, if you could do it all over again, would you do it? Is that a consensus by the group?
Yes.
Yeah, I would go in again, but they'd have to kind of bump me up a little bit because I went in as an E1. You know what I mean? I need to go back. I need to go in. Chris went in as an E4, y'all. My son is an E4. This brother making more money than I did. That's why I'm sporting the Army gear tonight, man. You know, I got my lanyard. So, ladies and gentlemen, to close out this show, we've prepared a special little video. I'm going to share our screen with these amazing folks, and those of you that are listening. It's a montage, a conglomeration of the 4 or 5 or military branches, however many it is, how many we call now, the military branches songs. And so I think it starts with the Air Force, I do believe. And so that's how we will close out. Once the song is over, you guys, this is it for us. And so Impacting Life 24/7 honors all of our veterans. I thank everyone. I thank Maggie. I thank Vera. I thank Mike. And I thank Danny and Greg for your amazing service. We salute everyone who donned the uniform of our amazing services. That was the Army. The United States Navy.
We're always ready for the call. We place our trust in Thee. Through howling gale and shot and shell to win our victory. Send bird Proudest is our guide, our pledge, our motto too. We're always ready, do or die. I Coast Guard, we fight for you.
That was the Coast Guard. Here comes the Air Force.
We go into the wild blue yonder, climbing high into the sky. Here they come, shooting to lead our thunder. And boys, give it the gun. And we dive, spouting our flame from under, off with one terrible run. We live in fame, from the down in flame, for nothing can stop the U.S. Air Force.
The United States Marine Corps.
From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we will fight our country's battles in the air, on land and sea. First we fight for right and freedom, and to keep our honor free. We are proud to claim the title of United States Marine.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to Impacting Life 24/7. God bless you. This has been such an amazing time together. And so thank you to all of our veterans. I hope that was a good close to the night. And God bless you. We will see you all next Veterans Day. And look at Sasha. She's there. Thank you, Sasha, for being a veteran too. Oh, Liberty. Yes. Okay. God bless you guys. Have a great night. We'll talk to you again real soon. Thank you so much.